George forgot to tell me to hit the button.
My fellow
George,
Texan.
this is all your fault. You're going to have to take it.
No Whataburger for you.
No Whataburger. Dang it.
No Whataburger.
No spicy ketchup for you.
No.
The special spicy ketchup, the limited edition second version.
Oh my! Oh boy! Oh no! That's rough. Anyways, welcome everyone to the first hit or miss of 2022. Oh God, I'm getting old.
We're in the future.
We are in the future.
Can I just say, you said 2022 as if it's 2022, not 2020 TOO.
No, it's 2022.
It's
2020,
the sequel.
It's 2020 TWO.
It's 2022, unfortunately.
2020 part 2.
Yeah, so depending on how you want to word it, yes. Technically, you are correct, but you're also wrong, but it's still correct.
Okay.
You know, it's one of those things. Anyways, welcome everyone. We're here. But you want to jump in, Rich? All right, I'll send you a link, Rich. But we got topics to talk about. We're going to go over a couple things, but let's get out introductions out of the way, and I'll send a few more links out so people can jump in. All right. So, Travis, why don't you go first?
Hey, what's going on? This is Travis P11. Nice Strike. Thank you so much for the invite. See, cheap plug. You guys can check me out over on Caliber Corner Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. Central Time on my YouTube channel, Travis P11. Otherwise, I'm excited to be here, man. Thanks again for the invite.
No problem. George.
Hi everyone. This is South Texas guy, also known as George Cortez, or vice versa. Catch me on Instagram under South Texas guy, and on YouTube, George Cortez. And I'm happy to be here and the first hit or miss show of the year. Thanks for having me.
All right, links out, sent, and Sean. What you doing, buddy? How you been? It's been forever.
I'm just a guy who does a weekend review show after Travis P11 on Saturdays. Well, if you didn't know, I've been doing it for 30 weeks straight now. And apparently people watch it, otherwise I wouldn't keep doing it. I also do a bunch of other stuff. I broke the cardinal rule of YouTube. I don't just do one thing on my channel. So apparently YouTube's metrics thinks I'm a gaming channel, which is why I get away with so much crap on YouTube with guns.
Well, you know, I live stream a lot of video games on my channel too, so.
No, I mean,
that's what I should do.
Categorized as a gaming channel.
Maybe we should start doing that. So I've just had 130 of my videos get limits or no ad slapped on them in the last 30 days. So that might be the way to go.
You see, that's the trick. You don't have you can't be monetized. You can get away with everything. I mean,
I know.
Yeah,
I used the theme song from the ending of Die Hard a couple weeks back.
Well, I'm sure it's probably heading my way soon. So once it does, then we'll get
Sean,
gates.
In Die Hard's defense, one, it was a Christmas movie, and a few weeks back, it was Christmas.
Yes, and that's when I did it.
You know, but we will always remember that tragedy that happened at Nakatomi Plaza.
Nakatomi Plaza.
Yep. All right. So, in at the last minute, we've got Tony jumping in. What's going on, Tony?
What's that?
We got everybody here tonight. Everybody's jumping in.
Yeah, I even had to sign in. What is this? Did you update the server or something?
I updated it again, and if you
I noticed it today. Yeah.
Yeah, I updated it again. Everything seems to be looking good. It's working fine. So let's not ruin a good thing, right?
Oh, we can ruin it if we want to.
Let's just try to break it.
let's not try and break it, please, because I don't need another headache this evening. So thanks for jumping in and joining us, Tony.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And in at last minute, because I sent him the link last. My friend Flying Rich jumped in. What's going on, Rich? How you doing? Long time no talk. What's it been? 3 hours?
Yeah, a couple hours. Hey, I got live breaking news. I replied to you with my video on the link, and I was hoping you could play it because this is extraordinary. Keltec has a new product, and I have a scoop on it.
Oh no! Oh
yes.
No!
Does it have a charging handle that doesn't bend like string cheese?
Oh no!
No. This is pretty exciting.
This is in response to the PSA F-15.
Almost. Actually, this
Let's just see.
this might be bigger than the PSA F-15.
It might be bigger. Let's
Yes.
just check this out. So,
Consider my curiosity piqued.
well,
Yes.
I'm gonna.
Oh my God! So I just want to bring to you live a broadcast from the Flying Rich Autonomous Zone newsroom. That's right. This is live
Wait,
and
Caltech is
breaking
doing the
news.
aerospace
And
industry,
no,
you're
the
screwed.
fullback did not get caught here. I want to break this news to you right now that, yes, in 2008, Brahmos Aerospace acquired Indian state-owned firm Caltech to manufacture cruise missiles. I will play that video for you right now.
Acquired Indian state-owned firm Caltech to manufacture and integrate Brahmos components and missile systems. This was necessary to meet the increased orders received from the Indian Army and Navy. Talking about the missile's name, Brahmos is a combination of the names of Brahmaputra and Moskva rivers. The first Brahmos missile was test-fired from the integrated test range at Chandipur in Orissa coast in June 2001. Since then, the missile has been successfully tested from a variety of platforms, including land-based platforms and warships. The earliest versions of the ship launch.
So all I got to say is I've seen it on the internet. It's got to be true. Caltech must have partnered with Brahmos to bring us a Russian-Indian partnership with a Cocoa Beach gun manufacturing company
In
to
2008,
produce
Brahmos
cruise missiles.
Aerospace acquired Indian state-owned firm Caltech to
I gotta do
manufacture
it
and
this way.
integrate Brahmos components and
See?
missile systems.
An Indian corporation to produce supersonic cruise missiles. I wanted to scoop this information
can't
to
be
you
right.
first.
No, it can't.
Why is
That
it
can't be
English?
right. I mean, they're,
I mean, if they put that time and time in to
So,
put into
yes,
their regular pistols, they'd have
obviously,
some great guns.
some
they're India's
dumb
aircraft carriers
YouTube
and submarines
channel.
are like
Hey,
a
Rich,
great
is it over by
estates
this
of
point?
nations all across
has
the world.
just got the wrong company name and wrong company logo.
It has to be.
A Caltech
I bet that
cruise
missile
it's gotta
has
be made of
1,000 million
string cheese.
screws.
Well, no, it's made out of plastic and screws.
Yes, quite possibly. And
Oh,
now,
yeah,
if
how
I
many
was
Phillips head
slightly
screws can you see?
smarter, I would have already monetized this
All of
chat,
them.
so I will
20,
do
at
that
least 20.
now.
At least 20.
As I load studio.youtube.com.
All right.
Look,
I'm gonna,
all we need is an Indian cruise
And
missile
click
that can
content.
hit like 600 miles east into China. That's all. We need.
And go live.
Nothing else
Well,
matters.
all
Well,
right, I'm gonna
PSA
stop
can
it.
sell,
Yeah.
missiles and
F-15.
F-15s. Why not Caltech, huh?
Wow. Rich, where did you get this this information from? I need to know your sources. And now he's gone all silent on us. Unmute your mic, Rich. Press the microphone button.
That microphone button? You mean that one there?
That
So-
one right there. That one right there.
Serious AF. I was laying in bed. I've got a head cold going. And I'm just like random watching crap on the 70-inch TV and on YouTube, and this pops up. I'm like, no freaking way. So it's miraculous to me that, like, you ever watch, I guess we're all men and we all watch military crap on YouTube, and somebody writes a script and somebody that may know English reads the script, and it's horrifically bad most of the time. And I guess they just grabbed, Caltech's logo. Who knows what the company's name actually was, but it's obviously not Caltech from Cocoa Beach. But they grabbed Caltech's logo.
Wow. I don't know what to say on that. That's hilarious.
Oh yeah. I saw that. I'm like, holy crap! I got to make a short on it. I got to I got to do something with this.
All right. Well, that goes into our next thing, because I saw something else on TV that I want everyone to see, because it goes into our first segue. Where did you know that the Second Amendment Foundation has actually gone and actually paid for an ad on a couple different channels for to post an advertisement out there on TV.
Really?
Yeah, check this out. Let's see. Link out. I want everyone to see this because this is pretty good. It's the message is bad because of who it is, obviously, because they're going after the president, but obviously who isn't these days. But check this out.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have vowed to take away your Second Amendment rights through gun bans, gun confiscation, and government regulations. Now, Joe Biden is no longer hiding his real intentions, and we need you to take action now.
Whether it's a 9mm pistol or whether it's a rifle, is ridiculous. I'm continuing to push to eliminate the sale of those things. But
the Biden administration is coming after your right to own any gun, and we need you to text PROTECT2A to 888-762-0221. Joe Biden has already issued executive orders. He is now demanding Congress push through radical gun legislation. You can fight back to stop Joe Biden's gun grab, but you must text PROTECT2A to 888-762-0221. Take action to protect your right to keep and bear arms. We urgently need millions of Americans to text PROTECT2A to 888-762-0221. Text PROTECT.
So is he going after Bose now too?
762-0221.
Apparently, he's declared war on 9mm.
I have no idea what he's doing, but again, as I said, it's just they put an ad out there, and I saw this on TV the other day, and they've got 20-something cable networks running that ad right now. So it's interesting that they did that, and they're doing that because things aren't going so well in the government because did you hear what the Department of Justice just did? Department of Justice just expanded the rules on firearm safe storage requirements and more. This is from The Truth About Guns. It was posted this morning. Set to take effect on February 3rd, new rules from the Department of Justice that were announced yesterday modify late 90s laws to expand and clarify an FFL's requirement to offer secure gun storage or safety devices for all firearms sold to customers. It also appears to have expanded the definition of antique firearm. You can read the rule here as entered in the Federal Register here. I'll put the link here in the side chat, then I'll put it out in the chat for everyone. So hold on while I do that because this is some serious information.
Hold up. Time out.
Mm.
I'm reading the story right now.
Yeah.
The same one you're talking about. They have announced a way to modify and expand to clarify an FFL's requirement to offer gun storage. They're just making the FFLs be a better salesman. They're not saying that you have to buy them. They're just saying that the FFL needs to tell you, hey, by the way, since you just bought this $2,000, whatever, you might want to have this to store it in because, think of the children. They're just saying that the FFL has to keep putting out the offer for ones to up their sales quotas.
Yes, but in a sense, they're also forcing FFLs to have more product that they may or may not be able to sell.
Well, to push that product, like they could just say, "Hey, I have to offer this to you, but I still have to order it."
Mm-hmm.
And we're an Amazon generation, right? It's all back orders and bullshit anyway.
Right, but they shouldn't be forced to do this. This should be all mandatory. This should be all what is it? Not mandatory, but elective.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so like they could say, "Hey, you have to mention these things, right?" The FFL could just put it in their receipt and just slide it across the counter. You don't have to read it, but they did put it there, so they could just say, "Hey, we put it out there. Whatever the guy did with it after I gave him the receipt that said, hey, if you want this, you can buy it from us."
If the safe storage thing was the only thing, and they just have to mention it, and not be required to have anything on hand, then I'd be fine with it, because they're just trying to do safety. I get that. I'm not necessarily. I don't like it. but I don't necessarily, I can't stop it. Okay. But
Yeah.
the one thing that does irk me is the other stuff that they're trying to add in the back. They're trying to tweak it says finally some tweaks were made to firearms definitions, including expanding the 1968 Gun Control Act definition of antique firearm to include a weapon that is a muzzle-loading rifle, muzzle-loading shotgun, or muzzle-loading pistol that is designed to use black powder or a black powder substitute, and that cannot use fixed ammunition. Term expressly does not include any weapon that incorporates a firearm frame or receiver, any firearm converted into a muzzle-loading weapon, or any muzzle-loading weapon that can be readily converted to fire fixed ammunition by replacing the barrel, bolt, breech lock, or any combination thereof.
Yeah, I'm not cool with that. I'm not cool with that at all. Because I mean, the fact of the matter is,
they're saying you can have a reproduction revolver, but now they're saying, that cartridge conversion kit you were looking at putting in that reproduction revolver, you can't have that anymore.
well, they don't have the cartridge conversion that was made for the Lamat revolver that was used in Westworld. So in that sense, I don't care. But the fact of the matter is they can't just go moving the damn goalpost, because if you look at the CNR rules, right, and the very first AR-15s should be CNR eligible, right? And then like the antique rules, they keep stopping at 1899 because they were like, oh, it's over 100 years from 1899, which means 1999. Well, this is 2021, which means any gun made up to 1920 should fall into that rule now. But they won't move the goalposts in our favor. Fuck no. No, they got to move the goalpost whatever makes it more difficult for us. They want to go back to like slingshots and like a sling and a stone. And it's like, wait a minute. You said 100 years. So we should be up to 1920 by now, which means 1903 A3s are antiques now. Which means, well, yeah, wait a minute. No, Thompsons are antiques now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean, it also means
BARs.
the bars model 1918 is also CNR.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm not paying $6,500 to a higher ordnance works. Kiss my ass.
I think it's more like $5,500, but we're splitting hairs at the price point.
I'm with you.
Honestly, the only one I'd want from Ohio Ordnance is that new one they made, to where they made it they made it tactical, and that's the one I'd want, just because the fact that
I want that BAR so bad. I just can't.
You know the one I'm talking about, right? Where they modernized it. I'd like that. Honestly,
and they shortened it too.
Honestly, I don't see why they shouldn't just convert it into 308 and offer it to the United States military.
Because 30-06 is superior.
I know. I've got a 30-06. I love the Garand. I love that game.
Right.
Anyways, but again, we're splitting hairs here. But the fact is that they're doing this just after Christmas, while everybody's in their New Year's they're just getting out of their New Year's coma, and their New Year's
recovery,
their New Year's hangovers and whatnot. And they're doing this.
If I could offer you a glimmer of hope, rumor has it, as of today, since Congress is about to go back into session, Nancy Pelosi's fixing to step down. Not bad, right?
No, but that means we get Schumer instead.
No. See, that's the thing. She's stepping down because her generation has now gone along the wayside. I mean, think about this, right? Think of how far the country has declined in the last 12 months. 12 months, okay? Because they elected somebody over mean tweets, right? In 12 months. Think how many people lost their jobs. Think how many people got locked down. Think of what inflation looks like.
Don't say elected in front of my wife. You're gonna get a fist in your face.
No. Yeah. I'm probably in line with what she feels about that. I'm just saying.
We all are, but on YouTube, we can't say that he didn't win the election. We can only
bullshit. That motherfucker stole it. There. Fact of the matter is her ilk, her line of thinking, her base doesn't exist anymore. They're all smelling like mothballs and Bengay, and nobody gives a shit what they think.
How does she keep getting elected?
That Because, okay, there's this thing
The San
called
Francisco
familiarity.
zombies vote for her.
No, there's this thing called familiarity, okay? You got people who are Bengay, Geritol, and mothballs, and they go and they take their decrepit ass to the polls, and they look at the ballot, and they see a familiar name, and they're like, oh yeah, click. And they don't educate themselves. They don't try to find out who the new people are. They don't try to find out what the issues are. They just look at a name and go, I remember I voted for that guy when it was 1962. I'm going to vote for him again.
We got a comment out there from my friend Pale Horse saying large ring Mausers should be also CNR. I believe in that too.
Agreed.
Rick is out there, Big Gunner 81.
But the point is at the end of the day,
yeah,
you look at the way the nation looks after 12 months. You look at how 2 major oil pipelines got shut down. You look at the fact that the day before the election, I paid $19 to fill my tank. Yeah, the day before the election, I paid $19 to fill my tank. Yesterday, I paid $64 for the same fucking tank of gas. Okay, that's huge because this is the same thing that happened in the early 2000s. This is why the Ford Excursion disappeared. This is why we ended up with hybrids on a biblical scale. Because
hold up, Sean. Newsflash. You remember the start of Obama's second term?
No, this is before that.
No. Technically, the start of Obama's second term is what we're living all over again.
Well, yeah, because this is Obama 3.0. I get what you're saying, but the point is like
the hyperinflation, the gas situation. It reminds me of the start of the second term all fucking over again.
It's 3.0. It's the third term. It's the expansion of this. But at the end of the day, what? Hang on a second. I'll be right back.
Yeah. All right. But, he has a point. But as I'm saying, the situation, the economic situation in this country feels a lot like it did at the beginning of Obama's second term. And I remember it because I had to live through it. We all did, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm saying it.
Sorry about that. No, I mean, okay, so look at the entire situation the way it is. Look at how inflation works. Look at how the gas prices are. Look at how the oil pipelines got shut down. Look at how our fucking southern border is like a goddamn conga line. They just did a survey of all the people who came across the border. We are having an invasion from 60 different countries across the southern border, okay? That means you can take the entirety of everything in South and Central America and still only have 2/3 of that list, which means they're flying into South America and then traveling up there with the rest of the migrants. Okay, think about all those things, and then think of some buck-toothed Smeagol-looking just twat going, you're just mad at me because you want to sleep with me. She's the future of the DNC. Do you honestly think they're going to have any, who the hell is going to elect them to be even the city dog catcher in November? Just grit your teeth.
Well, hold
on for the next 11 months.
I get what you're saying. The midterms are going to be interesting. I get that. But you also have to realize that in these states of which are democratically held,
yes,
or you know what? I'm going to say it a better way. The states which are always democratically occupied, because I hate to say this, but the Democratic Party is more of an occupation than it is
I would argue against that. Did you see what happened in Virginia over this weekend?
I did not see what happened. What happened in Virginia?
Virginia is not occupied. They recently just got flipped, right? And what happened? There was a traffic accident with a semi-truck in Virginia, and the entire state on 2 different interstates got locked down for more than 24 hours in a blizzard. And those people were cold and hungry, and they were running out of fuel. And even Tim Kaine couldn't show up to work, and he was pissed off. And what did you have? You had truck drivers who were stuck in that same traffic jam going, listen, this is an unfortunate situation. It can be very dangerous. Get out of your car, come knock on a trucker's door and say, do you have any food? Because I have a kid starving in the back seat. They will help you. And what happened? All those people who are stuck in that traffic jam are spitting nails at the Democratic leadership in that state. So it's not just status quo. Even the flip states are like, what the absolute expletive here, is going on. Because the thing is they don't know how to run anything. They know how to rule, but they don't know how to run a damn thing. They get elected by fear, and then they hold power through ignorance. That's all they do. Rant over.
But you live in Houston, so you have to deal with that all the time.
Look, I would like to proudly say that I live 27 miles outside of the city limits. Thank you. But yes, I have to associate with it. I can't deny
well,
that.
let me put it this way. There's a reason why I moved, about half an hour outside of Charleston.
Since you mentioned my city, I have to say, because of straight ticket voting in the city of Houston, a good man lost his job last election. Our county judge, or the county judge of the city of Houston proper, was a man named Ed Emmett, and he was very good at his job. And he was a conservative. He was very, very good at his job. But what ended up happening was, because there was this huge blue push nationwide and mainly in my city, this one person had paid the $150 something to put her name on the ballot, and she literally won because of straight ticket voting. She never advertised, she never campaigned, nobody knew who the hell she was, and all of a sudden she won, and a good man lost his job. And my city, the city I live near, has been an absolute shit show since. And people are like, Ed Emmett, will you please run again and take this woman out? And he goes, no, you get the government you deserve, you morons. And he walked away. And I can't blame him for it.
Yeah. No,
he's right.
No, it's true. All right, so we got some more news going on. Apparently, Canadian gun owners are starting to sound like Americans. Imagine that.
Yes.
Is there such a thing?
I know it sounds weird, but I linked it in the email. But the article starts saying Americans are a defiant lot. We wear that defiance on our sleeves. Even people telling you to comply with various things right now will be more than happen to don the more than I think it's a misspelling. More than happy to don the mantle of defiance as soon as their guy is out of the White House. This is the American way. It's especially true when you're talking about gun owners. I mean, why do many of us have guns? So we can be defiant if our government turns tyrannical. Well, that's not entirely true, but I would not argue that it might not play some small part of firearm ownership. But I wouldn't say it's the only reason. No. It's one of many.
I mean, I'm literally, we were talking about safe storage or whatever.
Right.
The desk I'm sitting in front of where I do my normal weekend broadcasts through is home to 14 carry guns I'm staring at right now.
Well, aren't you special?
No. I mean, what you said is why do people do it? And the answer is there doesn't have to be a reason.
No.
Because I'm looking across just my carry pistols and I'm like, well, I bought the Glock 43X because it was practical. I bought the Ladysmith 3913 because that's what Andrea carried in The Walking Dead. I carry a 1907 Savage 32 ACP because I like the Savage. I think it's a cool looking pistol. I have a Jericho 941 because that's what Spike Spiegel carried. I have my Walther Q5 Steel Frame Match Pro because I just thought it was cool. I don't need a reason because I have many.
Yeah, I know, but let me continue on, right? Because this is about what's going on in Canada, and I kind of wanted to broach the topic because if you don't remember, a few episodes ago, I did an interview between me and a Canadian gun owner, and we talked about gun laws in Canada. So
I do remember that. Everyone
was aware of the absolute. I'm going to say it this way, and forgive the expression, the absolute shitstorm they have to deal with their current gun laws, and that if we don't watch what we're doing, that we may inadvertently, get right in line behind them.
Do you remember the prohibition law that was written into the bill or into the Constitution, right? And then they reneged it.
The one
shortly
they
after.
had to add another Constitution amendment
Right.
to
So it was the
take it
18th
away.
Amendment and the 21st Amendment, right?
Yes.
Okay, so they had written these things in, and then they had to write another one in to get rid of it. And when they did that, they very expressly said that we will never make this mistake again, because this is a black mark on democracy by the fact that we wrote this into our Constitution and then had to write another one to take it out. That's stupid and wasteful, which means if they had done something to get rid of the Second Amendment, that's beyond stupid and wasteful, because that was in the Bill of Rights. That was in the very document required to ratify the Constitution, which means that was the very thing that required this nation to even be agreed upon to form. There's no way they would have the audacity to do that.
Which is why I worry about another Continental Congress happening, because yeah, one way it can go right the way we want, and they could, further gun ownership and enhance gun laws. But at the same token, they can do the exact opposite. They could amend the law that took alcohol away to also say and firearms and explosives. And then
are you confusing that with you're confusing Continental Congress with the Constitutional Convention of the States?
Probably, yeah.
Continental Congress is who was put together to make it. Constitutional Convention of the States.
Yeah. You're right.
That's the thing that Hannity has been pushing for over 10 years.
And I worry and I question where Hannity's loyalties really are, because honestly, well, yes, it's a nice thought, but just because he's
you in the ass.
Just because he thinks he's doing it for the right reasons and for the right way, I fear that it can be used, and it would be used and abused by the wrong people to do the wrong thing. Because
that's the problem.
Unfortunately, our leaders in the government have not given us a lot to believe in lately.
It could be used by whoever's currently in power. It can be abused by whoever's currently in power. Mm-hmm. So if the Constitutional Convention of the States happened today, that could be very dangerous. Whereas now, I'm not saying I have a crystal ball, but what I am saying is don't be surprised in 2023 right immediately before the primaries, a very familiar face comes up and says, "Oh, hey, by the way, how'd the last 3 years work out for you? So are you going to show up and vote for me this time?" And when that guy steps up, I'm not going to name any names.
No.
But if that guy steps up and he does that, if a Constitutional Convention of the States happened then there's a lot of potential positivity that can come out of it. See, the fact of the matter is,
well, I'm not too optimistic about that, because just because
he doesn't work with us. I get it. I know what you're saying, because he had a chance to do that and he banned bump stocks. As
gun owners, not even the Republicans work with us, because we had 4 fucking years.
Nobody
did we get the Hearing Protection Act? No.
Do you know why?
Did we get nationwide constitutional carry? No.
But there's a reason for that. You see, here's the thing. Right now, Democrats control Congress, right? They have enough numbers where they don't need any Republicans to really get anything through. But in the prior administration, there were just enough Democrats to stop anything from happening. That's the difference, you see. We didn't have overwhelming numbers to put anything through without them. Whereas now, there's enough of them to put anything they want through with just enough votes in the Senate because of the vice president knee pads to be the tiebreaker to push any agenda they want through if they really wanted to do it. Now, thankfully, we have someone like Joe Manchin. And thankfully, surprisingly, we have someone like Kyrsten Sinema who stops and goes, "No, this is insane." So they actually have defectors. Don't be surprised by 2024 if Joe Manchin changes to the other side. Don't be surprised if Kyrsten Sinema does the same thing.
Well, but remember, Canadians, they don't have the luxuries we have, like the Second Amendment constitutional rights. They may have some rights that are listed in their document, but they aren't listed clearly as ours are.
Right.
And they don't have one to guns.
No.
So, they're the last. Canada is like the last vestige of the British colonies.
Canada is like
who wanted nothing to do with the revolution.
They're
nice and polite, and they're compliant with the law. Or we should make that they were compliant with the law. Because hold on, we're rolling with this topic because I want to finish the damn thing. All right. So
I wanted to build on it.
Yeah, Canadians. Well, let me finish reading. All right. Canadians still have a few months left in order to turn in their banned firearms. The amnesty expires April 30th before they become felons. And how's that process going? Only 160 firearms that the Liberal government prohibited more than a year and a half ago have been deactivated or surrendered, according to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. The Canadian Firearms Program can confirm that as of December 9th, 2021, 18 firearms formerly classified as restricted, affected by the May 1st, 2020 order in council, have been deactivated, added Sergeant Caroline Duvall, the spokesperson who forwarded the Mounties' response. In addition, there have been 142 OIC affected firearms recorded and surrendered to the public agency for destruction since May 1st, 2020. The official excuse for the minuscule compliance rate that's being put forward by officials and supporters is that the government has yet to come up with the details for a buyback program they promised for the outlawed guns. Compliant Canadians are just waiting for that to be put into place. Then they'll rush to their local RCMP outpost and toss their gats into the barrel. If you believe that, I have some beachfront property in Saskatchewan I'd like to talk to you about. Yeah. That's from the author Dan Zimmerman. He says, now let's understand that Canadians like their AR-15 style rifles about as much as Americans do. Canada's Army's version of the M16, the C6 and the C7, great rifles. So I think they're up to an M4 variant. They're calling what the C8 now. Anyways, it's just the Colt variation where they modified the Colt M16 to their liking, and it's actually really nice. It's different than the United States issue stuff, but again, Canadians got to be different.
Do you know? Okay, I'm gonna build off of what you're going with here.
Okay.
When we hone in on something and focus it, we call it a microcosm of something, right? We say that what we can explain can be explained in this really small version of it. There was a book called Our Town written,
and it's the C7 rifle and C8. I didn't know why I see C6. The C6 was the crew serve weapon. I'm
leading up to a point here. The thing is we can take a small example of something and say this is a microcosm of a much bigger picture, right? You've heard this before. Canada is a colony of England, okay? In the beginning, its origins. And the fact of the matter is anything that America does, England does the exact opposite to be deliberately obtuse. We call it French fries, they call it crisp. We call it cigarettes, they call it fags. Just whatever you want to call it, right? They pick the opposite. We call it having the runs, they call it having the trots. Whatever. They have to be ass backwards to be special. The fact of the matter is Canada is the exact opposite of a microcosm of a situation. The entire country of Canada is being right. Well, it's a macrocosm in Canada. It's the opposite because the entire nation of Canada is being dictated by one fucking province, Ontario. Because nobody in Manitoba, nobody in Saskatchewan, and I know for a fact, nobody in Alberta gives a shit what the hell is going on in Ontario. They don't like any of it. Nobody in the Northwest Territories cares. Nobody in none of it cares because all those people are Inuits. They don't care. None of the Newfies care. Most of the Quebec people don't care because they speak French. They don't care. It's Ontario. It dictates the entire country. It's the opposite of a microcosm, and they have allowed it Because what's the theme here? You get the government you deserve. And if you didn't stand up for it, and you didn't fight against it, and you didn't tell that bright-eyed dipshit in Ontario to get the hell out of office, you have allowed this to happen.
Right. But the takeaway from this, Sean, is that Canadians aren't turning their guns in.
Right. Because none of them live in Ontario.
They're completely ignoring the ban. They're
Right.
ignoring it. And while they say, "Oh no, they're just waiting for the gun buyback program," and I'm like, well, the government had to have owned it first before the guns were sold, and they were owned by companies and manufactured by companies, not the government. And anyways,
Agreed.
if you only got like a $50 or $100 or $200 a gift card for a rifle you spent probably $700 to $1,000 for, would you take that deal? I sure as hell wouldn't.
No. And the fact of the matter is,
because you're
the
losing
RCMP
money. Because it's all, and that's what this whole thing is about. It's all about money.
I don't know if it's about money when it comes to Canada. It's about control. See, the fact of the matter is they're never, ever going to send the RCMP up to Nunavut. They're never going to send them to Resolute. They're never going to send them up into the Yukon territories. Because you know why? It would bankrupt them to send any force that far across the country to get one gun. It's like, nah, you know what? That's a town of 75 people. Fuck them.
And actually, another thing, one of the farthest northern cities in Canada, like the farthest north you can go.
Resolute.
Yeah, they've got everyone that lives there has firearms because
They have
everything up there is trying to kill them, literally.
Well, the cold mostly tries to kill them, but yes, there are
mostly
polar bears, and they're very hungry.
There are polar bears,
Sean?
and then aren't there also Kodiak bears up there too?
No, that's only in Kodiak Island, Alaska. I know
Okay.
that exclusively because I've been there.
You've been there several times.
Yes.
Do you guys think they try to push that confiscation across on a more local level, like their version of a sheriff or a police officer or highway patrol?
They
They
don't have
would
a
not
sheriff.
push
They-
that on the local law
they don't have a
enforcement
sheriff.
that far north. They
just have
would
local
definitely
police.
crack down in like Toronto. They might crack. That's the thing. See, I got friends who live in Manitoba and Alberta,
Yeah.
and they're like, nothing happens here. Remember Darren from Gun Channels, Darren Flath? Nothing
Yeah.
ever happens to him. He lives in the Northwest. He was like, no, they don't have time to come out here.
I would argue those in Newfoundland wouldn't do anything. Wouldn't turn their guns in either.
Newfies typically are left alone too because they're too far over. They're like too far away. They're like Newfies are basically what you get when Inuits and the Danish get together and
Right.
people get lonely. I'm just saying,
So-
like it's not to be offensive, but it's like Mongolians. What's happened when the Chinese and the Russians get together? It's the same thing. It's like they're not gonna bother. They're just like whatever, let them do whatever they're doing. They're not hurting anybody.
But the reason why I wanted to go over this article is the fact that the government is trying to take away their guns, and they're not
Yes.
having it. And
Well,
they're
and
acting-
yes, and they don't
they're
have the
acting
Second
they're,
Amendment
they're
to
acting
work
like
with.
Americans in doing so because, well, they're literally forcing the hand of the government to come and take them. That's an American saying, by the way.
Yep.
And
Come and
that's,
I thought that was a Texas thing, actually, because we're the ones who put the cannon on the flag.
well, it's become more of American.
Look, we
thing.
already gave you Whataburger. You can't have my come and take it.
No, no. Remember, I'm originally from Arizona and I live in the South. I mean,
Still don't have Whataburger.
I still don't have Whataburger. But again, Arizona.
And they're
did.
owned by Chicago people now.
Yeah.
Listen, man, until you can get me Bluebell ice cream in Nebraska, I'm going to keep taking
I
what I
will
can
bring
from
it
you guys.
to you.
I can hook you up.
I will bring it to
Oh,
you. Next time we go to
man.
Wanamaker, I will bring it to you.
That works.
Bluebell
But,
sometimes
wait a
is
minute.
hard to get
They
here.
don't
Wait a minute.
tabletop
I
review
don't-
right there.
Wait, I don't even have to do it, Travis. Clover Tag's daughter works at Bluebell.
Well, there you go. Oh, man.
Done
that's
deal.
amazing.
There we go. Give me a
Need a
overnight.
5-gallon pail of French vanilla, baby.
I should be
Alright.
talking to Clover Tag. Send me some Rocky Road and Dutch chocolate, man.
You are in Texas. You should be able to get that.
Yeah,
Well,
you
the part-
can, George. You just got to go to Kroger,
Sean,
man. I got to
every
go.
time
like
I
6
look
miles.
for it.
George is on the other side of town of Matt.
Yeah, I'm in the other side of town of Matt. I'm in the south side. He's in the north side.
Yeah, but you're not on the Matamoros side, so you're fine.
No, no. I'm fine.
Matamoros.
I'm only 5 miles away from Matamoros, man.
Oh,
So
oh,
I
I should
hear
tell
all
you
their
guys.
I hear all their little actions over there sometimes.
I
No,
do
no.
have a joke for you guys since we're talking about border security and stuff like that too.
Okay, go for it.
Connery used to make fun of a friend of his who lives out in California who had a thing for, he's a Latino, and he had a thing for a girl that lived in San Antonio who's a Latina. And I used to have this joke that you cannot look at a Latina girl with any salacious intent, because if you do, she'll be like, I'm pregnant. And you're like, damn it, I didn't even touch you yet. Right? Connery has a Latina girlfriend now.
And she's pregnant.
No, not yet, but we're going to work on that.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Oh
This-
man, that's
that happens.
Yeah,
Happy
this
New Year.
Oh
no.
no.
Sometimes I'll order groceries from HEB and they'll be like, okay, I say, yeah, God, I feel like eating Rocky Road ice cream, so and I don't put any substitute. I just say I just want that, because sometimes they'll substitute another brand. It's not as great, so I'll just say no substitute. I just want what I want, and they'll be out. I'm like, how can you be out? I'll go to a Walgreens,
Yeah.
and I'll just see the whole frozen section gone, like nothing's there. I was like, wow, they don't have anything. They have no ice cream. They have it.
I was
And then
at
sometimes they'll have
CVS
it.
the other day, and their entire frozen food section was gone. It
The
was
entire
empty.
beer aisle was gone today.
Yeah, the beer aisle too. So it's just like, what the
Oh,
hell's
maybe
going
they haven't
on?
restocked since New Year's
Probably.
Day or whatever. Yeah.
Probably, but it's weird. I'm not going to go over that last topic I have in there about New York, but for anyone that wants to know what the topic was, apparently New York is trying to institute a law to go and put a 10-day waiting period on all firearms purchases.
Good
And,
luck with that.
And I can see that one going to the Supreme Court too.
I talked to a guy about that, about the waiting periods, and I told him, and he's like, I don't mind waiting, so many days just to get my gun. I said, well, heck, some people want to buy, when they buy their firearm, they want to take it. They want to take it home, and what's the waiting period going to do? Oh, well, that will take the part of somebody's mad and he's angry and he buys a gun to go shoot somebody or something. I go, like, they don't do that anymore. People plan their things now. They buy their stuff and they wait, and then they plan it, and then they go.
The problem is you're not saying right. You tell them, well, you think it's okay to wait, but what if you had to wait 10 days to take ownership of the car you just bought? You paid, say you paid $30,000.
That's a good point. That's a great point, because see, what I was about to say is the longest waiting period I've ever had to deal with is financing for a car purchase, and that was only a day.
That's a day, and even that, and tell me this, Sean. Even that was unbearable.
Not really. I mean, I came
Come
late.
on, man, help me out. Help me
Well,
out.
I will. The thing is,
I would say yes.
the argument for the waiting periods always gets beat down so quickly when you talk about domestic violence and women who are in danger for their lives. Every time you get a group of women who say, this woman died waiting, that argument gets squashed so fast. So it's like, it's really hard to push that you need to wait 10 days thing, because their argument is say you're hot and bothered and you want to go and do something crazy and nefarious, right? They're like, we're going to make you wait 10 days so you have time to think about it and reflect on it and calm down. Who the hell does that? Nobody. If they're going to decide, they planned this 10 days ago so they can plan the wait. But when you have somebody who's a victim of domestic violence, there's a cliche. Yeah, there's a cliche that I am sick and tired of hearing of, is when seconds count, the police are minutes away. And it's like, couple that with the fact that there's domestic abuse going on a biblical scale. You have locked down a country for 3 years. Half the nation lost their jobs because of stupid decisions. And this whole country has the absolute worst case of cabin fever in human history. And now you're going to make somebody who's on edge, have to wait 10 days to defend their lives from somebody who's on edge? I don't think so. That's insane. That's asinine. Because even if you took all the guns away,
that's New York.
well, I mean, think about it. If you took all the guns away from human society in America, then we're
They
just going to
use
end up like
sticks,
England.
swords, and spears.
Exactly. It's never the tool.
And
The
homemade
tool
guns.
is not the weapon. Is not the tool. The weapon is the person wielding the tool.
Mhm.
England is a perfect example of this. They took guns away. What happened? More stabbings, more knives, more axes, right? Then they had knife background checks, and they had drop boxes. Then what happened? People started using hammers. Then they had waiting periods at the freaking hardware store. So then what did people do? They started running people over with Ford Transit vans. It's like, when does it stop?
It doesn't.
It never
It
does,
won't.
because you're trying to regulate evil, and that's a fool's errand.
Mhm.
You cannot regulate evil because you can't detect evil and you can't stop evil. I mean, you want to know a good example of this? The Bourne Legacy, right? Matt Damon. No, this
Oh,
isn't the
God.
Matt Damon one. Well, sort of it is, but it's the Aaron Cross one. It's the Hawkeye one, okay? There was a guy who was working the lab. He was perfectly fine, normal, everything was cool. And all of a sudden, one day, he just snapped. And then he went on a shooting spree in the lab, right? They did not see that coming. You can't detect that. You can't prevent evil. Evil is inherent to everybody. It's about repressing animalistic primal instincts to do something stupid. And the fact of the matter is the pros will always see the gun as a shield, and the antis will always see the gun as a sword. And it's like, I'm surrounded by 77 shields right now. I feel perfectly safe. But somebody across the street from me who might be a flaming libtard might go, he's got 77 swords. We should check him out. He's a mental. And it's like, wait a minute. Why? Did I do anything stupid? Did I shoot any of my guns off on New Year's Eve? No. Have any of my guns reached out and attacked anybody in the 14 years I've owned them? No. So then why am I the bad guy? I filled out my form. I did the background checks. I'm perfectly fine. Why are you attacking me?
G-Webs out there says, ask someone who is okay with waiting lists if they like the idea of our federal government having the power to decide and keep track if of each and every one of us is good or bad.
Right. And the fact of the matter is the Second Amendment wasn't written for the government. It was written to protect the people from the government. So anyone who helps support the government into restricting your rights is a fucking moron.
Well, yeah, and then you've got those idiots on the left that are saying, no. The Second Amendment is written so the government could give itself the right to have guns.
But that's not the case. See, the fact of the matter is, the Bill of Rights was given to the people, and the Bill of Rights expressly tells the government, you are not allowed to touch this. And yet the government keeps trying to say, but we should rein it in a little. No, it's not your right to do so. We put you in power because we as individuals don't have the time of day to raise children, have a job, and worry about national security. We gave you national security so we don't have to worry about it. And in turn, we gave you this power, and now you have abused it to the point of projectile vomit. And you have made us vulnerable to everything, including ourselves. Fuck off. So the fact of the matter is if you can't get government to accept the fact that, hey, we gave you this right and we can't touch it, then you need to get rid of everybody who doesn't agree with that in government. Because that's what it boils down to. Fuck off. This was meant to keep you under control. We put you in power so we don't have to worry about the shit you deal with for us. You work for us. We pay your salary. And for some reason, they've gotten very high and mighty thinking, we have all the power, you're peons. Who gives you that authority? Who gives you the 10 freezers with fancy ice cream, Nancy Pelosi? We did. Doesn't mean you get to rule over us. It just means you have more ice cream than we do.
Well, she does have a $20,000 fridge.
$32,000 times 10.
Wow.
and a lot of ice cream in there.
Why would you even pay? I don't even know.
I don't know. The bitch doesn't even have Bluebell in her ice cream, so who gives a shit what she thinks?
Exactly. Travis,
Yo.
Travis, I need you to start
Yo.
jumping in here. Me and Sean can't have the whole chat.
Yeah. Well, I was going to maybe end the show on a happy note.
Like maybe Pelosi has some hot pockets. You know, pepperoni pizza hot pockets.
Yeah, maybe she's got a fridge for hot pockets, and she's got a fridge for banquets, and she's got a fridge for Marie calendars, and just like while we have guns, if she wants to go spend, $30-some thousand on a refrigerator, she should have the right to do so.
I'm sorry, but nobody as overruling and overbearing as her has anything joyful in her freezer. The only thing in her freezers are cold black hearts.
Oh man.
That's scary. And maybe the cries of dead children.
We can wait to the West.
No, she just blends those extra. She bathes in them. It's like stem cell treatments.
Oh, that's right. That's right. But Sean, are you not making the Mexican space program joke anymore?
Have
we retired that one?
No, I'm actually glad you brought that up. I have written my governor several times, and it is actually, I got a reply saying it is under consideration. So originally what I had written him is you have the right to annex property and equipment in the name of state security. And he said yes. And I said, well, you need to do whatever you have to in your power to seize those fields of fence materials that have already been bought and paid for, and you can hire local assets to erect them. He has done that, and I'm quite proud of the fact that he has done that. On top of that, I said, look, at the end of the day, what you need to do is you need to mortify people to the point where they're like, I am not going there, right? And I said, now, the old me would say, be mean and mine the border. And it sounds terrible, but the fact of the matter is for every one mine you put down, 99 warning signs actually do the work, right? And I thought, well, then you're going to have a NATO crisis where they're going to want to send blue helmets because we're killing people. So I thought, okay, Mr. Abbott, try this. Don't use explosive mines. Make the mines act like bouncing betties that blow the same kind of dye that they use in bank bags when you rob a bank, and make it IR sensitive. So that way you can use your drones and you can catch the idiots that are covered in hot pink paint and say, no, stupid, you got caught and now you're never coming in here. You are therefore banished forever, and send them the hell back across the border. Because the fact of the matter is we're catching and releasing. But if you're stupid enough to get hit with a mine that's covered in the same kind of paint that can get picked up by a drone, you don't get a second chance. Fuck off. So I told him, why don't you mine the border with that? And he goes, I don't know if there's legalities involved with that, but that's worth looking into. Like, my governor, I don't want to say I'm on his speed dial, but I'm definitely on his mailing list, because when I first started writing him, it took 3 weeks to get a response. Now I start writing him 3 days and I get a response. 3 days and I get a letter.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I keep all of them. I've got letters in response from presidents since Reagan. Because when I was in elementary school, they were like, you should write your president. You get this really cool autographed picture with a thank you and a bunch of information. So I did. And I've got every single one since Reagan. And I thought, you know what? I have the power of the pen. And so do we. And so do you, the viewer, the listener, everyone here. You have the power of the pen, just like you have the power to get off your ass and go vote. 17 million gun owners in the state of California, and you couldn't get rid of that fucking moron that's running the show. Really? Get
Even
off
with
your
all the
ass and
people
go do
leaving
something.
California?
No. 17 million registered gun owners in the state of California. The state of California has like 40 or 50 million people in it.
They wouldn't even vote.
They couldn't get enough people to overturn that moron. You get the
1 million gun owners couldn't get off their ass to go and vote.
17 million. Not 1 million. 17 million. They couldn't get rid of that guy. You get the government you deserve. Larry Elder turns around and says, I'm not running for governor ever again in the state of California. He knows he can't win because he can't get people to get off their ass and go vote. Okay, G-Web says 7 million. Fine. That's still what? 1/6 of the population?
No,
That should have been
what I heard
enough.
was they had to have 1 million votes in order to do a recall election.
Fine. Well, he says there's 7 million registered gun owners. That's 7 times more than required. Fair enough. I'll admit to that. Fair enough. Okay. That's still 1/6 of the population. That should have been enough to do something. It didn't happen.
It did happen, but
6 times 7 is 42 million. Just saying.
Yep.
But anyway, the point is we should have got. You get the government you deserve because no one gets off their ass and does anything. And the fact of the matter is, getting off your ass and doing something is actually quite simple. We have laws in this country that protect you from not losing your job for getting off your ass.
Bacon, no,
and
we're
vote.
not talking about any sort of hope for California whatsoever. We're talking about how it's hopeless.
No, I have hope for the state of California. I really do. I have hope for every state in this country.
You're out of
The
your
fact the
damn
matter
mind.
is- no, the thing is complacency lets blue states rule. That's the fact of the matter. Complacency. People are like, I don't have time for that. Or people are like, no, my neighbor will take care of it. And that's not the case anymore. Blue rules in population centers. Anywhere there's a large city. Like you said, I live near Houston. Houston is the 4th largest city in the country. The fact of the matter is they get coerced and then they vote blue because they keep falling for the bullshit. They keep drinking the Kool-Aid. And at the end of the day, it's all the rural cities that go, are you people crazy? At least we took the time to read it. You guys didn't, and you voted for these people. And then you complain that your city's crap.
Oh, roll call's going on and saying you'll never get rid of them now that they tamper with the elections and don't care if they get caught.
Now, he's not wrong, okay? What I thought was really funny is the Democrats pushed really hard for mail-in voting, right? The old-fashioned way of filling out a ballot, putting a stamp on it, and sending it off. That's very archaic. Like, why don't you just put your vote on a piece of paper and stick it onto the foot of a pigeon while you're at it, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you beat that? We always say that you have to meet absurdity, liberalism, with equal or superior absurdity, right? Because that's all they know. Democrats only know outbursts and violence. They don't know logic and sense. They only know emotional outbursts and violence. That's what they do because they're just little children. So how do you beat that? If they want to do mail-in voting and they can figure out a way to corrupt it, then on our side, we should just say, hey, well, the mail system has to depend on the U.S. Postal Service, which is very unreliable. So why don't instead we just use 2, 3, 4 check verification systems, and why don't we just do online balloting? You see what I'm saying? Like you take their system and you take it to the next level, to the next generation. You're like, you're still using the mail. I mean, why don't you just use the Pony Express while you're at it, you idiots? We have the internet that supposedly Dan Quayle came up with or Al Gore came with. So why don't we just use the internet and do
because
vote?
We're using his rhythm.
That's how you screw them. Because then when they go, no, because the internet could be hacked, and be like, well, so can the mail. You could just intercept the bags and burn them or hide them under the table like you've been doing. You call them out. And then you could say, if you don't want to do it our way, then you can't do it your way either because your way is easily as corruptible. And then you just put an end to it. Sorry. I had this grandiose
Jose
plan.
Morga is out there saying that's why California sucks. I moved out of there 16 years ago, live in Arizona now, and I prefer it. But I hate the morons that come from California here to Arizona because they still think like idiots. You know, unfortunately, Jose, I hate to say this, and I'm not saying this to be mean. I'm not happy that you had to move to Arizona in the first place because Arizona doesn't need any more Californians.
No, he's right.
But at least you have the decency to change your voting habits when you move to a new state, unlike them.
Right, but he's right. Blue has bled into the state of Arizona and turned it a very disturbing shade of purple. The same thing can be said for Texas. I have to admit that. despite the fact that Texas became the 21st constitutional carry state. And shockingly to me, Louisiana usually looks at Texas and they're like the retarded little brother that goes, hey, we want to come too, right? So we thought that Louisiana was going to become the 22nd constitutional carry state. That didn't happen. Ohio is about to become the 22nd constitutional carry state. Fact of the matter is my capital in my state of Texas is a very disturbing shade of blue. And then you have to look at what happened here. We had AMD. That was a disturbing shade of blue. All of a sudden, Tesla came here. Tesla left a blue state to bring blue bullshit to my state that was already turning a disturbing shade of blue. Amazon came to Austin, made it a very disturbing shade of blue.
Amazon's everywhere.
Well, the fact of the matter is you can leave the state you came from, but the politics that you brought with you will just infect the next state unless you change your voting habits. And the guy that you just talked about apparently changed his voting habits. That's a good thing. Unfortunately, the majority of the people who have exodus out of California don't, because it's the very definition of insanity. California just took it too far. We'll do it different this time.
Luckily, Californians don't like moving to South Carolina. Apparently, it's too redneck down here for them.
How many moved to Virginia recently, though?
I doubt it. I doubt many.
Because I mean, they have a blue governor? Because they're pushing his shit in right now.
No, they just recently voted a blue governor out, didn't they?
No, they have a blue governor right now. He's the one getting yelled at right now for this whole debacle with the blizzard and the 18-wheeler situation and people being stuck out there for 24 hours.
No, I thought the Democrat lost his election.
I think that's West Virginia.
No, that's Virginia.
Is it?
He's ending his term this month.
Okay. All I know is that somebody's getting their ass chewed for what's going on right now. So if he's in power right now, that's his fault.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Now remember, the election was last year for Virginia governor, and the results were Youngkin won against McAuliffe. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And Youngkin is the Republican, and I think he's set to take office.
From Terry McAuliffe.
From yeah,
Okay.
not from Terry McAuliffe. The Ralph Northam.
Well, he was running against Terry McAuliffe for the same ticket, right?
Yes. Terry McAuliffe was a Democrat running, and a former Virginia governor.
Either way, okay. I'm not going to say this as a political thing, okay? We as non-Democrats, which means you can be conservative, you can be Republican, you can be whatever you want, okay? We have to grit our teeth for 11 more months and then do our civic duty in the midterms. Because right now, what you have is a situation where the party of the president doesn't back the president anymore. But they don't need him, do they? They have Congress and they have just enough senators to keep pushing things to his desk.
Youngkin takes office January 15th this year.
Okay.
That's why I said they just, because I remember they had an election just.
They did.
So again, right. I'm sorry to interrupt you there. It's just I want to make sure we got all the information out there.
No, that's good. That's good. That's absolutely right. It's all I'm saying is I used to be a panelist on Matt's show a lot when we did the politics chats, and we used to always around election years talk about how important certain elections were. This year is actually quite important, just because of the fact that we know that we have a president who's not seeking re-election. He says he is, but you all know that he's not, because he's going to be too old and too feeble. His approval ratings are so far in the toilet that nobody likes him. Not even his own party likes him anymore. He's just sort of a puppet. And what Congress will do while they hold their majority is push bills to his desk and say, you sign this, you puppet moron. And then he will, just because he capitulates.
All right, Travis had to leave us.
So at the end of the day,
because we're running long tonight, apparently.
we are running a little long. Sorry.
Yeah, we started a
But
little late, so we're
the point of the fact of the matter is this November for midterms, which are usually not important, is actually one of the most important ones because you can further neuter the idiot in charge, like they had neutered the guy that came before him. Otherwise, I mean, just think about everything that happened in the last 12 months, right? That is because you had a president and a Congress of the same party, and they let him run amok. Now, if you can take away his power to run amok, you can at least stop the bleeding. I mean, think about what he's done it in 12 months. He hasn't even made it halfway through his presidency yet. And he's probably the worst one we've ever had.
You know, I hate to say this, but you know, this is bad because this is before I was even born. But Biden is actually worse than Carter.
How did I know you were going to mention Jimmy Carter?
He's worse than Obama.
Because before Obama and before you know Clinton and Trump and even both Bushes, the worst president was Carter because he instituted he literally got us into that whole Iran situation whatsoever, and is the reason why we're at odds with Iran. It's Carter's fault.
Now,
let me guess. It was at the time when weapons of war were claimed out there.
No, see, Night Strike is picking a president before he was born as the worst one, but I'm going to pick a president that was before I was born. If you really want to point the blame where it belongs,
you're going to blame Nixon?
No, the worst
Actually,
president.
I agree with him on that.
Ford
is Lyndon Johnson.
Ooh,
because it's if you think about modern liberalism today, it all began with the Great Society.
You know what?
He's even quoted as saying as such. We're going to stack them up like cordwood. And he used a very specific word that I'm not going to repeat. But we will have them voting for us in droves in 20 years. Okay? That guy is the reason why modern liberalism exists today. It's his fault. And he killed the president before him.
Yeah. And profited
That's
off of
worse.
It too.
Killed
That's
what president?
Worse.
Who did Carter kill?
Nobody had Carter killed, and Carter didn't have a president killed before him. And he didn't have the Great Society. He's the worst one.
Yeah.
I used to say that FDR was the greatest Democratic president of the 20th century, but he's had a lot of controversy in his own right. But he still isn't nearly as bad as Lyndon Johnson. I'm sorry.
How about
well, I'm saying of the presidents we've had in
Johnson's considered modern times, Night Strike. The fact of the matter is that was a space race and Cold War.
Say Johnson's considered modern times anymore.
No, it's after the 50s. It's after the 50s. It's after the two world wars. It was after the Great Recession, after the two world wars. It was during the space race, the Cold War, the arms race, all of that. You have to put it right after Eisenhower.
Yeah.
Modern politics happened after Eisenhower.
Bacon out there is saying, "I vote Cartman for our next president of the United States."
Oh, hell no.
Honestly,
hell
no.
No, because I watched that post-COVID
Crazy.
South Park special, and the fact that he turned into a rabbi and went crazy. No,
honestly,
No.
fuck South Park.
My authority.
There's no more authority. It's like he lost his authority, like he lost his balls.
Sorry about that.
Anyways, we're gonna cut this one down and go do something else. So we're gonna let everyone say their goodbyes. Warsaw, actual goodbyes, not translated by robots. No,
come on.
This is a robot-free zone.
You mean we can't do a static to Picoye?
No, domo arigato, Mr. Roboto.
Domo arigato.
All right, you want me to come up with an outro for you?
No, just say goodbye, everyone.
Bye, Tokarev Strike.
He's angry
Wait,
there
you
and
bought a
let him
Tokarev?
use his Google Translate stuff.
He has such anger in him.
Such anger, you know.
You bought a Tokarev?
No,
He-
I didn't buy a Tokarev. He keeps pressuring me to go and buy a Tokarev and get a Chinese.
So I'm still the only one out of the three of us left that still has a Tokarev.
Yeah.
Damn.
Anyways,
Wow.
I don't have a Tokarev. I don't want one. Sean, you got anything coming up that we need to know about?
Just the week in review. It's on Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Time. It usually follows Travis because I don't like to step on people's toes and Quark shows. So if you tune in, Night Strike is part of my panel typically.
Sometimes
Saturdays.
I can't always make it, but I try.
Yeah, and to be fair, I give credit to G-Webs because he actually does do the 2A weekly wrap-up. And for some reason, when I started doing the weekly review, I thought it was a unique idea, and it's not. But we just pick 5 stories, we run it around the panel. We have a good time. It's a good way to get your Saturday started. And other than that, check out my channel because I do 8 other different things on it, and maybe you'll find something you like.
All right, George, words of wisdom.
I have to say that it wasn't Al Gore that invented the internet. It was 2 Decepticons visiting Earth that gave it to the military.
Damn, it wasn't.
Damn it! It was the Decepticons all along.
Oh, I just realized you have 2 Texans left on your panel.
I know. How about
Yeah,
that?
2 Texans.
There's so much freedom in here. I don't know what to do with myself.
Okay, so since there's 2 Texans left, and if there's anybody from Whataburger still that isn't from Chicago listening, bring back the Chop House Cheddar Burger, you retards.
Oh,
All right.
Whataburger's awesome. Yeah,
GM says he doesn't cover news at all on his wrap up, for what it's worth.
Wow. Well, we do that. You cover the channels. It's okay. Between the 2 of us, we got it all covered.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you all for hanging out with us. We had some people jump in and out, and honestly, hey, everyone's invited. Stay as long as you can. Jump in on the conversation, the topics. But hey, everyone's got to do what they got to do.
Yep.
Either way, thank you all for listening. This was Hit or Miss.
Shall not pee in French.
No. Adios, Felicia.
Hasta la vista,
Adios.
baby.
Hasta la vista, Felicia.
Ciao. Auf Wiedersehen.
Te amo, Felicia. Te amo.
Bye.
You know what? Even though Christmas is over, I'm going to say it anyways. Felicia Navidad.
Felicia Navidad.
Felicia Navidad. How do I turn this damn thing off?